In last video, we have seen about the distribution of intensity in interference pattern. What is the intensity at bright band? What is the intensity at dark band? And what is the intensity at any general point in between bright band and dark band? After this, we have seen methods of obtaining coherent sources. Methods of obtaining coherent sources, and then we have seen about optical part. In this video, we are going to see next part of this chapter, which is on diffraction of light. Diffraction of light, it is one phenomenon shown by the light. First, I will explain what is meant by diffraction. And then we will see different types of diffraction. There are two types of diffraction. One is called Fraunhofer diffraction. Second is called Fresnel diffraction. In your syllabus, there is a study of Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit. In detail, we are going to see Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit. First, what is diffraction? What is meant by diffraction of light? Suppose that from the source light is coming. Across the path of this light, consider one small obstacle. The size of obstacle should be compared to the length of the light. This obstacle, size of obstacle should be very, very small. It is compared to the length of the light. When light falls on such an obstacle, we find that we observe that this light, there is a bending of the light waves from the corners of this obstacle. There is a bending of the light waves from the corners of obstacle, and after bending, this light waves, they enter in the region of its shadow. This phenomenon in which due to bending of light wave, light enters in the region of shadow of an obstacle. It is called diffraction of light. Remember that to have a diffraction of light, how must be the size of obstacle? Obstacle should be very, very small. Its size should be compared to the length of the light. You can take obstacle of the size 10 raised to power minus 5 meter, minus 6 meter, minus 7 meter like this. This must be the size of obstacle. Then you can observe this phenomenon. For the diffraction of the sound, there is no condition for the obstacle, size of obstacle. We can easily observe the phenomenon of diffraction of sound wave. In light, there are two types of diffraction. One is called Fraunhofer diffraction. There are two types of diffraction. One is called Fraunhofer diffraction, and second is Fresnel's diffraction. Second is Fresnel's diffraction. What is the difference between these two? First we'll see what is Fraunhofer diffraction. In this Fraunhofer diffraction, diffraction is obtained by taking the source of the light from obstacle at infinite distance. Diffraction is obtained by considering plane wavefront incident on the obstacle. In this diffraction is obtained with the help of plane wavefront. You know when we get plane wavefront? We get plane wavefront when the source is at infinite distance, or when the source is at the focus of the convex lens. When the source is at the focus of the convex lens, then also the wavefront that emerges out from that convex lens is a plane wavefront. Second requirement is the source must be at infinite distance. In this Fresnel's diffraction, diffraction is obtained. Diffraction is obtained with the help of cylindrical wavefront. With the help of cylindrical wavefront means here the source is taken near to obstacle. Here source is taken near to obstacle. In this diffraction, source is at infinite distance. In your syllabus, there is a study of Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit. In this video, I will explain Fraunhofer diffraction due to single slit. Fraunhofer diffraction. Due to single slit. Consider one slit. Suppose this is the slit whose size or whose width is very, very small. It is compared with the wavelength of the light. Consider this width equal to small k. Consider this width how much equal to small k. This is the width of the slit which is equal to small k. This is slit. Now allow to incident plane wavefront on this slit. Allow to incident here plane wavefront on this slit. You can take source at infinite distance, or you can consider source at the focus of the convex lens also. The wavefront that we get after coming the rays from this convex lens is the plane wavefront. You may take source at infinite distance, or you may take source at the focus of convex lens. The requirement is on this slit, plane wavefront should be incident. Consider that here plane wavefront is incident on this slit. So that wavefront is AB wavefront. This is that wavefront. As the size of this slit is very, very small, diffraction of the light takes place. We observe that this light which is made on incident on this slit, it enters in the region of shadow of this slit. Suppose in this much region shadow is there, then you will find that light enters in the region of shadow also. Light enters in the region of shadow also. Means diffraction takes place here. If convex lens is taken in the path of the light wave, convex lens is taken in the path of the light ray, then we observe a pattern of alternate bright dark bands on the screen. If we allow to pass this light ray that comes from the screen through this convex lens, then on a screen we get a pattern of alternately bright dark band, just like interference pattern. It is not an interference pattern. It is a diffraction pattern. I will explain here how is this diffraction pattern. When we get bright band, when we get dark band. What is another name for bright band in diffraction? What is another name for dark band in diffraction? That we are going to see here. See. First I will explain what happens at the center of the screen. How is the intensity of the light at the center of the screen? Suppose O point represents center of the slit, then this perpendicular bar sector OP0 will represent center point of that screen. P0 will be the center point of the screen. At this center point, the light ray that comes from the plane wavefront take place of points from this plane wavefront. Suppose I have taken here this point, upper end point, then second point you should take as the lower end point. Take such a pairs on this plane wavefront and see how are the paths covered by the light wave that comes from these pairs of the point. You will observe that when this light wave reaches at the center of the screen, the paths covered by them are equal. Means path difference between these two rays, path difference between these two waves comes equal to 0 at the center. I am taking here second pair of points. For the second pair also you get path difference 0 here. For the second pair also you get path difference 0. Similarly for third pair, for next pair you get path difference 0. All the waves that comes from different points of this wavefront show path difference 0 at center of the screen. Means at center you will find brightness. There is a bright band. There is a bright band at the center of the screen, which is called central maximum of diffraction pattern. Which is called central maxima of diffraction pattern. Remember, in diffraction pattern at center of the screen we get brightness, which is called central maxima of diffraction pattern. After this central maxima, you get here minima, means darkness, dark point. For dark point, for darkness in diffraction pattern, there is a term called secondary minima. Next to the central maxima on both sides, you will observe secondary minima means darkness, points of minimum intensity. Then after secondary minima, again you will observe maxima, means bright point, on both sides of that pattern. On both sides of the pattern, you will observe again maxima, means bright point, secondary maxima. I will explain formation of secondary minima, formation of secondary maxima. Then we will see how much is the width of this central maxima and how much are the widths of secondary minima and secondary maxima. First I will explain formation of secondary minima. This is our central maxima. Now in this figure I am going to explain the formation of secondary minima, means formation of dark point in that pattern. Suppose here we get first minima, secondary minima. This is our first dark point, which is called secondary minima. How to explain the formation of secondary minima? Suppose that the wave that reaches from point P at this point T1, which is our first secondary minima, it performs an angle theta with this horizontal direction. This is horizontal direction. This distance take capital D. Here also, the wave that comes from point A will form an angle theta, with the horizontal direction. This is an angle theta. The wave that comes from these 2 points, they are showing angle theta with the horizontal direction. The waves are reaching at point T1, at force minimum of the point. Here, draw perpendicular AM on the ray that comes from P and reaches at point T1. Draw perpendicular. From point A and from point M, the wave will cover same path from point A and from point M. The wave will cover same path. The wave that reaches at D1 will cover same path. Only the path difference shown by the wave that comes from these 2 points is equal to how much? This Bm. This Bm will be the path difference between the 2 waves which reaches at D1. This angle also comes equal to theta. A is the width of this lead. You get this path difference A sin theta. How much is the path difference between the 2 waves that comes at point T1? It is A sin theta. In diffraction pattern, for secondary minima, to get secondary minima, the condition is path difference between the wave that reaches at that point, it must be equal to lambda, 2 lambda, 3 lambda, or in general n lambda. In interference pattern, for bright band, path difference should be lambda, 2 lambda, 3 lambda, n lambda. But in diffraction for secondary minima, path difference should be lambda, 2 lambda, 3 lambda, in general n lambda. And this is for secondary minima. This path difference you must get equal to lambda. For secondary minima, for secondary minima. So this is secondary minima here. The wave that reaches at D2 will show path difference, means this distance how much? 2 times lambda. Similarly, for third minima you get path difference 3 lambda and so on. These are the requirements in diffraction pattern to get secondary minima. How secondary minima is formed when path difference is equal to lambda, 2 lambda, 3 lambda, n lambda. Here, explanation of this is given on the basis of half period zone. On the basis of half period zone. This distance for secondary minima is equal to lambda because it is first minima. Therefore, this distance for secondary minima is equal to lambda. Take midpoints of AM and AB. Suppose K is the midpoint of AM. It's already we have taken midpoint of AB. This distance OK will come lambda by 2 if this is equal to lambda by similarity of triangle. This distance you will get lambda by 2. Means the wave that reaches from these 2 points, the wave that reaches at D1 from these 2 points will show this much path difference. That is lambda by 2 and D1. And when path difference between the waves that coming at the point is lambda by 2, they come out of phase, means they cancel each other and we get minima there, we get darkening. For next pair of points also, you get same path difference lambda by 2. For next pair of points also, you get same path difference, that is lambda by 2. For each pair from each half period zone, this is called half period zone. For each pair from each half period zone, you will find that the path difference between the 2 waves that comes at point T is lambda by 2. Therefore, their 2 waves cancel each other. All the waves will get cancelled here, and we observe darkness at this position. which is called secondary minima in this diffraction. Which is called secondary minima in this diffraction. Suppose that this is nth secondary minima. Take distance of this nth secondary minima from center point 1 and T. Distance of nth secondary minima 1 and T. D for darkness, for minima. Here, from this figure, and for first minima we write theta. So this is y1. y1 upon capital T. For nth dark band, for nth secondary minima, we should write here 1 and D upon D. 1 and D upon D. In this triangle, as theta is very small, we can write here, theta equal to lambda upon L. So, for nth dark band, you'll get for nth secondary minima here n lambda upon A. This is called angular width of that minima. This is angular width of that minima. Angular width for first minima, angular width for nth minima. Next to this first minima, you get here first secondary maxima. This is first secondary maxima. This is central maxima. Next to central maxima, there is secondary minima. And next to secondary minima, you will get first secondary maxima. Denoted by V. In diffraction, this is for minima. In diffraction, you get maxima, secondary maxima means brightness at such a position where path difference between the wave that comes from each pair of the points on the wavefront equal to 3 lambda by 2, 5 lambda by 2, 7 lambda by 2, in general twice n plus 1 lambda by 2. For maxima, what is the requirement in diffraction? The path difference must be 3 lambda by 2, then 5 lambda by 2, then 7 lambda by 2, in general twice n plus 1 lambda by 2. As first secondary minima is next to first secondary maxima is next to first secondary minima, this path difference will get increased. For first minima, path difference is lambda. For first secondary maxima, path difference is 3 lambda by. Path difference is how much? 3 lambda by. Explanation is similar. Here. These are the waves that reaches at B1. These are the waves that reaches at B1, that is first secondary maxima. This will be the path difference here, suppose, which is 3 times lambda by 2, Here, Divide this slit now in 3 equal parts, each of length lambda by 2, lambda by 2, lambda by 2. For secondary minima, we have divided this in 2 parts. For secondary maxima, divided in 3 parts. Having width of each part equal to how much? Lambda by 2, lambda by 2, lambda by 2. When we divide slit in such a part, that parts are called slit element. Take 3 slit elements of width lambda by 2, lambda by 2, lambda by 2. The wave that comes from first to consecutive, the wave that comes from first to consecutive slit element will get cancelled at this point P1 because they will come out of phase. They get cancelled here. But the wave that comes from third slit element will remain as it is here. They will not cancel. They will not cancel out there. They will remain as it is. Therefore, we observe some brightness at such a position. Therefore, we observe some brightness at such a position. This brightness is nothing but secondary maxima. This brightness is nothing but secondary maxima. For secondary maxima, what is angular width? Suppose this theta 1d means first secondary minima. Theta 1b means first secondary maxima. You get here for first secondary maxima. Suppose that this is distance of first secondary maxima from center point. Then you should write here theta 1b equal to y1b upon capital D. Or in terms of this path difference, it comes 3 lambda by 2 upon A. 3 lambda by 2 upon A. A means the speed. And this path difference for first maxima, you will get 3 lambda. Similarly, for nth secondary maxima, theta and b, you will get y and b upon d or 2n plus 1 times lambda by 2 upon d. Sorry, upon A. This is the angular width for nth broadband. Means nth secondary maxima. This is the angular width for first secondary maxima. When question is asked on this, we should explain here formation of central maxima, then formation of secondary minima, and formation of secondary maxima. In next video, I will explain how much is the width of such a secondary maxima, secondary minima, and central maxima.